There are some very respected people, respected scholars. Justice Mendoza here was not just my professor, but the professor of my professors. That's how much we respect him. You know, I think we have to see this in the context that in a different age, for example, slavery was once the law of the land. It was perfectly normal. It was perfect. It was defended by the most respected legal minds of the day as absolute truth, as ordained by God as part of the natural order. After that, segregation was likewise seen as absolute truth. So law changes, time changes, and we're entitled to have legal experiments under our Constitution. This is a broad document that is supposed to empower future generations. We do not read it like an ordinary law. I think I'd also like to note that perhaps we don't need a provision against secession. We don't have a provision in our local government code saying that each barangay is prohibited from seceding from the Philippines. And I think if our brothers in Mindanao are really serious about secretly forming an army and seceding, a piece of paper like the BBL is not going to stop anybody. What I would like to note, however, to add to what has already been said much more ably by the people who spoke before me, is that perhaps the committee would like to take note of the form of the BBL and to ensure that it conforms to the form of a law. And I'd like to cite 3 points regarding this. First, we can't help but notice that there are certain terms that are used among the very broad terms used that have very specific meanings in international law and which may be misinterpreted or intentionally misinterpreted to lay the basis for a legal challenge. I think Colonel Pobre already pointed out very specifically that self-determination has a very specific meaning in international law, especially in the context of recognizing states. And although I think this has special meaning to the panels, you might wish to review very carefully the use of such terms. To cite another example, the BBL also mentions a renunciation of war. However, war is only a matter between states. So again, why is it in a law which is not supposed to be an instrument between states? You might wish to revisit very specific terms like this. Second, you might wish to be very careful in checking that it's written like a law passed by the Congress of the Filipino people and it cannot be held out as a constitution. For example, I noticed that the territory is labeled as an ordinance which parallels our constitution. I noticed that the preamble is by the Bangsamoro people. Perhaps it can be by all of us since, again, as mentioned, this is not charity, but this is peace and restorative justice for all of us. And lastly, just on a minor note, I think the provision on amendment has a restriction stating that amendments should not be effective unless there's a plebiscite. I don't think Congress can pass restrictions on future Congresses. As was said earlier by Justice Ascuna, perhaps some points here, unless you have constitutional amendments, will have to be policy, will have to be requests on future Congresses, but cannot be strictly binding. We'll submit perhaps a more brief position paper, but I think our position is very simple. And I suppose I'm one of the younger speakers here, and I will have to live the longest with the consequences of what is eventually decided by this honorable committee. So on behalf of the Philippine Bar Association, we would like to offer the ad hoc committee our full support in this very great venture. Thank you very much.